Hi, Sue Wilson. I've got one for the guys today. Well, actually, maybe for the girls too, but definitely this is probably something that would work really well for the men in your life. Celtic patterns and designs. They're so much fun to play with. You can have all sorts of pattern building going on with them. They're lovely. So I'll show you what we'll be using. I'm going to combine the Just Because shadowed sentiment and the For You to make Just For You. So we'll do that. We're going to be using the Shannon die to create a background. And this one's really pretty and it's got all sorts of stuff going on with it. The Erin is from the Celtic collection, and that's going to be the center of our focal element. And we're going to do a bit of framing with the new double-stitched squares. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and cut 4 of the Shannon. Now the background isn't quite as large because it's bigger than the frame needs to be, so we are going to trim some of it off. But I'll give you a quick measurement here. This is 6 1/4 inches square there. And what I've done is I'm just lining up the Shannons so that they meet on this edge right here. So you've got a lovely little edge just like that, and we're going to glue them into place. I'm going to use a little bit of spray glue and some regular glue for these. That'll work. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to it as well so it'll stick really nice. And there. Okay. So there's going to be a tiny bit of a gap in the corners, probably about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And I'm just going to sort of line them up across like that. Pop this in. We can readjust them a little bit if we need to. Just sort of line these two up. And I wouldn't worry if you've got more on one side or the other. When we frame it, we will center it quite nicely. Okay. Get a little glue on this one. And some more glue in the center just to make sure it sticks really well. There we go. And we can put these on. And just butting those little edges right up next to each other. Popping that across. And let's see if these will meet up nicely. Might have a little bit of moving around to do. On there. There we go. Got that to meet quite nicely there. Okay, so that gives you a really nice tone-on-tone, sort of a pretty decoration in your corner. We don't need all of this, like I said earlier, so we're going to trim away the extra bit. I'm just going to use some scissors, and the frame will hide the edge anyway. So, pop that off. There we go. That last corner. Okay. So I've gone ahead, I've cut a multi-layer frame. Now what I mean by that is a larger base frame and a thinner top frame. And I'm using the milk on the bottom and the chestnut brown on the top. So I've added a bit of mounting foam. So I'm going to go ahead and center this on top. There we go. Bring this back in. Just try to get same sort of edge on all of these, and I may have to do a tiny bit more trimming. And look around, I can see there's a little bit off the back here that's still showing. That's not bad, and I'm going to just do that while I think about it. Tiny bit extra, and I'm just going to use the side of my scissors underneath the edge of that frame. Hopefully get all that off of there just how we need it. There we go. That looks all right. And now the chestnut thinner frame on top. So these are the 2 die sizes next to each other that creates a 1/4 inch frame, and those are 2 die sizes apart, so you've got a bigger area. Okay, so this is always a little bit tricky. You want to lay it down and try and catch the corners. This mounting foam is very forgiving, so I can easily pull it up if I need to. But because the frame is a tiny bit thinner, it does tend to wiggle around a little bit. There, it's not too bad. Let's see if I can get this down just a little bit more there. Got a tiny bit showing here. I like it to stay nice and even with that frame. Let's see if I can get that in any better. There we go. And a little bit down this way. There we go. Quite happy with that. I think that looks really nice. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my base. I've done the paper piercing around the milk layer, the milk card layer. I've added in a thin mat of the chestnut brown, so we'll tie in that same color. That's what I like to do. I'm going to pop that on there. There we go. Now I've gone ahead and I've cut the Erin dye out of the chestnut brown, so we'll have kind of that mixture of colors going. Little bit of mounting foam right in the center here. I'm going to pop that in the middle. Just line it up with the edges of the Shannon dye. There we go. And one of these frames from the double pierced, stitched squares fits beautifully right in the center there. So what we're going to do is use that as a frame on top of the Erin dye in kind of a diamond orientation. Just like that. So you have a little bit of that brown showing around the edge of it. Really nice, perfect like that. And then I have the centerpiece, which I've cut just from the center of the double stitch squares. I'm going to pop that in, and that is going to be the base for my center sentiment right there. So I've used all of the shadowing on this and done the actual wording in the chestnut brown with the milk shadow. And I decided just to add the tiniest bit of mounting foam to these to raise them up a little bit. So because it's such a fine bit, I'm going to add a little bit of glue. We are going to put the jest right up in this corner. We are going to do the same thing with the word you down in the bottom corner here. So let me just peel off this little bit of mounting foam, and it's such a tiny amount. The actual glue will help it stay really nice and secure. Pop that right down here. And with that shadow, you really do see it, and it gives you a base to put the foam on and the glue. So it's quite nice to have. And the word for right in the middle. There we go. And that sits right in the very center of that sort of square that we put in the diamond orientation there. And there you have it. Just a lovely card, I think. This Celtic design is so versatile. Well, don't forget our YouTube channel has a lot of videos on there for you to watch. You just have to like and subscribe, and you'll get an email when the new ones are loaded on.